Cosette. Waterloo. During the night of the 18th of June, on the battlefield of Waterloo, the dead were despoiled. Wellington was rigid. He ordered whoever should be taken in the act to be put to death, but rapine is persevering. The marauders were robbing in one corner of the battlefield, while they were shooting them in the other. The moon was an evil genius on this plain. Toward midnight, a man was prowling, or rather crawling, along the sunken road of Ohain. He was dressed in a blouse which was in part a capote, was restless and daring, looking behind and before as he went. Who was this man? Night probably knew more of his doings than day. He had no knapsack, but evidently large pockets under his capote. From time to time he stopped, examined the plain around him, as if to see if he was observed, stopped down suddenly, stirred on the ground something silent and motionless, then rose up and skulked away. His gliding movement, his attitudes, his rapid and mysterious gestures, made him seem like those twilight spectres which haunt ruins, and which the old Norman legends called the goers. Certain nocturnal water-birds make such motions in the marshes. The night was serene. Not a cloud was in the zenith. What mattered it that the earth was red? The moon retained her whiteness. Such is the indifference of heaven. In the meadows, branches of trees, broken by grape, but not fallen, and held by the bark, swung gently in the night wind. A breath, almost a respiration, moved the brushwood. There was a quivering in the grass which seemed like the departure of souls. The night prowler, which we have just introduced to the reader, ferreted through this immense grave. He looked about. He passed an indescribably hideous review of the dead. He walked with his feet in blood. Suddenly he stopped. A few steps before him, in the sunken road, at a point where the mound of corpses ended, from under this mass of men and horses appeared an open hand, lighted by the moon. This hand had something upon a finger which sparkled. It was a gold ring. The man stooped down, remained a moment, and when he rose again, there was no ring upon that hand. He did not rise up precisely. He remained in a sinister and startled attitude, turning his back to the pile of dead, scrutinizing the horizon, on his knees, all the front of his body being supported on his two forefingers, his head raised just enough to peep above the edge of the hollow road. The four paws of the jackal are adapted to certain actions. Then, deciding upon his course, he arose. At this moment, he experienced a shock. He felt that he was held from behind. He turned. It was the open hand, which had closed, seizing the lappet of his capote. An honest man would have been frightened. This man began to laugh. "Oh," said he, "it's only the dead man. I feel like a ghost, better than a gendarme." However, the hand relaxed, and let go its hold. Strength is soon exhausted in the tomb. "Aha!" returned the prowler. "Is this dead man alive? Let us see." He bent over again, rummaged among the heap, removed whatever impeded him, seized the hand, laid hold of the arm, disengaged the head, drew out the body, and some moments after dragged into the shadow of the hollow road an inanimate man, at least one who was senseless. It was a cuirassier, an officer also of some rank. A great gold epaulet protruded from beneath his cuirass, but he had no casque. A furious saber cut had disfigured his face, where nothing but blood was to be seen. It did not seem, however, that he had any limbs broken, and by some happy chance, if the word is impossible here, the bodies were arched above him in such a way as to prevent his being crushed. His eyes were closed. He had in his cuirass the silver cross of the Legion of Honor. The prowler tore off this cross, which disappeared in one of the gulfs which he had under his capote. After which, he felt the officer's fob, found a watch there, and took it. Then he rummaged in his vest and found a purse, which he pocketed. When he had reached this phase of the succour, he was lending the dying man, the officer opened his eyes. "Thanks," he said feebly. The rough movements of the man handling him, the coolness of the night, and the breathing of the fresh air freely had roused him from his lethargy. The prowler answered not. He raised his head. The sound of a footstep could be heard on the plain. Probably it was some patrol who was approaching. The officer murmured, but there were still signs of suffering in his voice. "Who has gained the battle?" "The English," answered the prowler. The officer replied, "Search my pockets. You will find there a purse and a watch. Take them." This had already been done. The prowler made a pretence of executing the command, and said, "There is nothing there." "I have been robbed," replied the officer. "I am sorry. They would have been yours." The step of the patrol became more and more distinct. "Somebody is coming," said the prowler, making a movement as if he would go. The officer, raising himself up painfully upon one arm, held him back. "You have saved my life. Who are you?" The prowler answered quick and low. "I belong, like yourself, to the French army. I must go. If I am taken, I shall be shot. I've saved your life. Help yourself now." "What is your grade?" "Sergeant." "What is your name?" "Thénardier." "I shall not forget that name," said the officer. "And you, remember mine. My name is Pontmercy."